Good afternoon. I'm Tomas Lopez with Democracy North Carolina, and I am here at our election protection boiler room where we are handling some of those complicated tickets that we are getting from voters across the state. So far today, our hotline 888 Our Vote that we operate in partnership with coalition partners from across North Carolina has received calls from over 2,000 North Carolina voters. And since September 4th, the hotline has assisted nearly 12,000 individuals across the state of North Carolina. In terms of what we're seeing today so far, it is a range of issues. We have had questions about curbside voting. That is an accessibility measure that exists in order to assist voters who may not be able to enter a voting location because of a physical disability. Second, we're continuing to see issues with voters who have questions about their registration status and information that they're being given by poll workers, especially concerning the status of voters who've moved. We're also continuing to track instances of aggressive electioneering, which some voters have flagged for us as particularly concerning. And overall, what we are seeing across the state is a steady stream of calls. I think we are seeing healthy turnout. We are not going to have a sense, obviously, until data is reported later about what turnout will look like relative to prior election days or the total early voting period, including demographic breakdowns. So North Carolina doesn't put that information out before the close of the polls. But we do know that we are seeing certainly enough call volume to reflect that it is a fairly busy voting day. I want to throw it to my colleague, Joselle Torres, who is at the Chavis Recreation Center in Chavis Community Center in Raleigh, North Carolina, to share what she's seeing down where she is.
Thank you, Tomas. I'm out here at the Chavis Community Center here in Wake County. And if you hear the music in the background, that's because there is a party happening at this poll. We have a ton of snacks, folks out here creating excitement, DJs. We have some local partner organizations in North Carolina, NAACP, as well as other voter advocates helping ensure voters when they get off work and they arrive, as we'll expect a little bit of a bump in people coming out to the polls, that they'll stay in line to that 7:30 time frame, and hopefully it won't be a long line for them to either walk up into or be a part of. So we're really excited to see that there are good spirits here. As you can tell right behind me, there is no line. You can come right now and vote. If you have any friends or family that haven't voted yet, give them a text. Tell them, hey, I just looked up your voting information. I can help you look that up on ncvoter.org and find your polling location before 7:30. One thing that's special about Chavis Community Center is that it was closed actually for the first time in a long time as an early voting site. It's under construction. You can kind of see that construction right behind me. And so when people showed up here to early vote, they didn't necessarily know where to go. Roberts Park Community Center is the place that people that usually come here, that's where they went to. And they were able to find that information out because of the ncvoter.org and other amazing voting resources that we've seen as part of the 2020 general election. But it is open today. This is the polling place where people have been voting for many, many election cycles here in Southeast Raleigh. And I'm excited to see these good vibes happening all the way until 7:30, which is the last, well, actually, no, it's not the last time to vote for those that got an extension. So check out our Twitter feed. We did update the State Board of Elections. They had a midday meeting with those polling sites that did get extended hours due to being open late or other technical difficulties. So be sure to check out that Twitter. Get in line before 7:30, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thank you, Joselle. Glad to see the scenes over at Chavis. I want to underscore what Joselle said. We are heading into the final couple of hours of in-person election day voting here. And there are a few points I want to raise. Number one, we are urging people that if you are in line at 7:30 to stay in line. You are allowed to vote as long as you are in line at the time that polls close. So that's number one. Number two, there are 4 locations where the State Board of Elections has extended voting hours past 7:30 in order to respond to stoppages in voting that took place earlier in the day. So a couple of those locations are in Sampson County, and there are a couple of others as well. I want to say off the top of my head, Guilford County may be one of those as well. We have we have, as we go into the final stretch here, we know that there's typically one final rush of voters getting off of work, trying to cast their ballots. And, again, we would underscore the message. Now is as good a time as any to vote. If you still haven't, you still can, and you can stay in line. One additional point I would raise as we move from election day into election night is, number one, that because of the extension in voting hours that we're seeing at a handful of places, that is going to lead to a bit of a delay in the initial release of early voting figures and figures from absentee mail ballots that have been cast and accepted to date. However, in comparison to some other states that folks may be tracking, North Carolina's election officials do expect data to be considerably more complete than other places. Absentee ballots, for example, have been counted by county boards of elections since September 29th. And so what that means is we will have a more complete picture of what returns are looking like over the course of the night. But again, for anyone watching, I would definitely urge patience, especially because there are only so many conclusions that one can draw from the order in which certain data is released. But again, we'll know more about that as the night unfolds. I want to throw it now actually to questions to see if anybody has that. Again, we've been busy here, over 2,000 calls today, and we're preparing for the final rush.
If anyone has questions, you can put them in the question and answer box or the chat.
One thing I'll add is that Democracy North Carolina's nonpartisan poll monitors are, over the course of today, have been at over 700 voting locations statewide. So that is a considerable chunk of coverage. That is over 1 in 4 polling locations across the state. They've been able to assist voters both in urban communities, suburban communities, and rural communities. And what we definitely are seeing, again, not just on election day, but over the course of the entire voting period, right? Ballots were actually first mailed to voters on September 4th, is enthusiasm to take part in the voting process. That is something we feel very good about. And we feel very good about the work that we and partners have been doing to protect access to the ballot. We fully intend to continue that work, not just today, but well after today, to make sure that every ballot is also counted. That work will flow not just beyond today's election, but into the canvass counting process that will happen next week at the county level.
Sailor Jones is just joining us live from his car. Do you have anything to share with us from on the car?
Hi, friends. Sorry to jump in late. Just want to let everybody know that in the rural hubs in northeastern North Carolina, the polls are jumping just like they are in the Triangle and Triad. We're seeing a steady flow of people voting in counties like Edgecombe, Hertford, Bertie, Chowan. We were in Halifax County today, and a lot of those vote protectors that Tomas mentioned have packed snacks, water bottles to make sure that voters who were in line at 7:30, as Giselle mentioned, can stay in line regardless of whether they have children, hunger, they're thirsty, they can stay in line for the duration. So we're seeing that across the rural counties in the Northeast, where turnout is highest among a lot of our Black and brown communities. And so we'll be traveling across the length of the state today to make sure those voters' voices are heard and every eligible voter who can cast a ballot will. So I'll turn it back over to Tomas.
All right, thank you, Sailor. That is all from here for now. Obviously,
Hey, Giselle here. Surprise! I was able to check in with an advocate here on the ground, and they just wanted to give their thoughts on what they're seeing at Chavez Park. I figured this is even better than my interpretation because Veronica has been here for a good portion of the day. So I will let her introduce herself here and just kind of share her story.
I am Veronica. I just joined the NAACP. You're working and excited. I've been calling people to get out to vote in Wake County. We needed about 5,000. There were like 5,000 votes in this downtown area that had not checked in, but just reaching out to individuals, asking them to contact friends and family in this area to have them vote so we can lock this up.
Awesome. Thank you so much for they're out here. It looks like we've got some really great snacks, PPE, things to get things safe. Yep.
President of the Raleigh Apex NAACP, and we out here doing our best to make sure that these voters get everything they need, make their voice count in the 2020 election. Everybody, everywhere, go vote.
I mean, we got to end on there. That's it. Go vote.
All right, there you had it. Go vote, folks. You still have a couple more hours and in a few places a little bit more than that. So thank you again for watching, and we'll see you soon.